Yeah.
And thank you to our presenters today who have joined this live Q&A session.
Yes.
There's just a little bit of audio in the background. If we can please mute for anyone that's not speaking. Thank you. So again, thank you to our presenters today who have joined. They are Jeroen Prinsen, the Regional Director Asia Pacific for QS, who presented earlier on using university rankings for developing partnerships and measuring success. We also had Dr. Stephen Holmes, the founder and principal of 5R's Partnerships. Stephen presented on the 21st century approaches to benchmarking universities. And Stephen he'll be joining shortly, but he is also joined by Professor Duc Nguyen, who has recently developed the UPM rating system for universities, which Stephen touched on during his presentation. A warm welcome and kia ora koutou to you all. I will just check the live Q&A panel to see if we do have some questions coming in, which I believe we do. I will start with Jeroen. There's a question here. It's asking about the need for universities to internationalize post-pandemic and whether this will change the way QS evaluates universities and attributes weighting to the various indicators you outlined in your presentation.
Thank you, Ben. That's a great question. We're obviously in a fast evolving ecosystem where internationalization has evolved and taken a different form today. I think it should get back to pre-pandemic levels, or that's certainly a big question mark as to what level of internationalization universities will get to, both in terms of partnerships and international student cohorts. But the appetite is still there, and according to our international student surveys, that appetite is increasing today as we speak. So in terms of how that affects the rankings, we have indicators around international student ratios. We like to maintain a consistent scoring in our rankings, so we don't like to do anything that will create a big fluctuation in the scores, as we know what impact that has on universities trying to manage the messaging around that. So we maintained a ratio number prior to the pandemic for the universities. What that will look like going forward, we're obviously keeping a very close eye on that. And we will naturally evolve indicators and rankings over the coming years anyhow, regardless. But no immediate major change at this point.
Thank you, Jeroen. There's a question here more for Stephen, but what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Professor Duc to comment more specifically on UPM. There's a question, how has UPM been applied so far, and what is the vision, and what can universities do if they are interested in the UPM tool?
For the setting up of the UPM, we have considering two questions first. Okay, I pay a lot of attention on the education accreditation. Yeah, and you see that when the people do the education accreditation, yeah, they pay only attention on the quality assurance. Yeah, but after accreditation, the pupil do not know which university is good and what is the strength. Yeah, so sometimes the very strong university, they do not like to make the accreditation, because if they participate on the accreditation, they can obtain the result that is nearly the same with the weak university. Yeah, that is the first one. And the second one is many of our Vietnamese students would like to go out for their studying, but you don't have enough information about the university. If the student pay only attention for the QS ranking. Yeah, they have only the information of the 1,000 university. Yeah, but we still have many university that is very good for students who can participate. So as why I would like to setting up a new platform in order that many university can be participate, and then many information can bring for the student, and they can choose its good university for them to participate. That's the two main points that I would like to say. And then we had the funding from the Minister of Higher Education of Vietnam. The Minister of Higher Education of Vietnam said to me that, okay, when we are trying to do a lot of things for improving the quality, the Vietnam and the other country needs a tool how to measure the quality. So as why I learned some experience from the QS Star, from the QS, and also the ASEAN quality assurance. And then I combine both approach, yeah, ranking, rating, and accreditation, and I setting up the new UPM. Yeah, so it's very good to bring more information for students and the stakeholders.
Thank you. It does sound like both the UPM tool and QS rankings complement each other very nicely with a nice combination of criteria and indicators. There's some really positive feedback coming through the discussion panel here. Great sessions on rankings and benchmarkings. There's another question, you've touched on this already. There's a question here: with reduced international students at all universities, are the rankings of universities affected? Given that is a one criteria or one indicator you've discussed.
Yeah, so thank you, Ben. I alluded to it in the previous question. So we're not going to make any immediate changes to the indicator or its weighting, but we are observing that very closely moving forwards. As obviously some country, I mean, one could argue that it's a relative change across the world with a reduction in international students. However, some countries would be much more exposed to that than others with larger international cohorts. And as mentioned, we don't really want to see big fluctuation changes in university rankings as we understand the impact that can have to managing that messaging for individual universities. So yeah, we look at the international indicators, and we look at a variety of indicators that are somewhat connected to international as well, and that will evolve over time. But no, thank you for the question. It is an area that we are observing very, very closely.
Thanks, Jeroen. One more question for you here as well, around university or international partnerships. There's a comment here: international partnerships are usually driven by personal contacts / networks of academics and faculty members, but rankings do impact institutional decisions. Is there, or what should be the approach towards this potential conflict?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So certainly, if you rewind 20, 30 years or more, over 100 years, it certainly partnerships were very much an individual networking type thing. If a senior academic at one institution, met someone else at a conference and shared their research interests, and that could quickly evolve into a partnership. That would be a strong partnership. So you would rely very much on good, prolific senior academics to drive some of those partnerships. However, we live in a much more international world now, and universities are building their international brands and partnership portfolio, and doing this in many different ways by making themselves more attractive to prospective partners and being able to tell their own story about their strengths and capabilities and interests. And obviously there's more international student mobilities as well today, well, pre-pandemic. So, you know, those relationships and engagements are further spread through international students and postgrads, positions overseas. So it's really helping that international element flourish, and rankings is one way of putting a university in a shop window, and I say one way as there are obviously many other ways as well. So, you know, there's certainly an immediate view on a university by understanding a ranking or even a subject ranking to know what this university's key strengths are. So certainly an element of the due diligence when looking at potential partners.
Thanks, Sharon. Professor Duc, there's another question related to that one as well. And given your previous experience at university, I'm going to ask you, which is more important to consider for a university when exploring a partnership? Is it the course recognition or the study program recognition, or the total university ranking?
I think that the program is more important than the university ranking. Yes. So as why for the UPM, as the first time for the last years, we pay only attention for the UPM as the institutional level. Yeah. But for the last 3 years, 3 months. Many rectors of the university, they asked me, and then I just create the UPM program level. So now we can make the benchmarking, audit the quality for not only the university and the program. And for the program, we have to make the division of the many groups. The program in science, in engineering, and in particular for the ranking and benchmarking. The benchmarking for the social side is very difficult because the number of the international publication is very few. So what more indicator we have to find? And then I think that we now pay more attention for the program, and in particular for the program in social science. That's very difficult. And the problem that if we do not do our good job, many people from the social side, they have many claims. Yeah, so they win again the ranking, the rating, and the benchmarking. So as why I now pay a lot of attention how to make the good criteria for the benchmarking program in the social side, where not only the international publication, but the book, chapter, and etc. The many other indicators we have to taking into account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Professor Duc, we do have a number of universities watching this session. If they are interested in the UPM benchmarking tool that you have developed, how can they get in contact with you?
For the ranking and the rating, we have some difficulties. Yes, the weak university, they do not like to participate because they will show the weakness for the community. Yeah, but for the very good university, they will pay only attention for the QS ranking. Yeah, for the top 1,000 something like that. Yeah, but in our case, we would like to combine the accreditation and the rating. Yeah, and we would like not try to find the
Professor, I'm just going to have to sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to have to cut you off there. We're about to finish this session, but thank you very much for everybody's time. Kia ora.
Thank you to all the